Hello everyone, Apollo Stories here, back again with another horror story, and a real one at that. The story is quite good and it originates from Pakistan as well, my hometown. So yeah, before continuing this, I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. That will help me keep motivated to upload more content on this channel as well. And without further ado, let's continue with our story, shall we? Our today's story revolves around Mateen, a 16-year-old teenager who goes to college to study and lives with his family, mainly his mother and aunt, who were his only family, in a house for 7 years. The first 5 years in that house were quite comfortable. The house was a flat with 3 rooms, but it was a house cozy enough for them. As one day per usual he was going to college, his mother was house alone. As his aunt came suddenly through the main door, and after a minute or so of talking, as his mother was in kitchen, she grabbed his mother by the neck and started to put pressure on it. His mother was quite surprised and worried about what happened and what was going on, and they started to argue and push and pull, and then her mother gaze met with her aunt's. Her eyes widened in shock. Everything seemed normal, but her eyes were different. They were jet red, completely red like blood. His mother was terrified and started to recite some verses, and the aunt or so-called aunt left, crying to herself from the main door. Her mother was quite weirded out by that. The next day, something weird happened to Mateen himself. As he woke up from a sleep from his room in 7:30 a.m., he saw something terrifying behind his mother, who was standing in the hallway outside his room. It was a headless woman-like figure, dark black, just standing behind his mother. He started to recite some verses from the holy book. As the figure started to walk away until it was completely gone. He was quite terrified by that and shook his head out of thoughts. Maybe it was his imagination. But the same thing happened the next day. It got so common that it was his normal ritual now. Get up, recite some, prayers or so on, so that the figure might go away from his mother. But at one point, the figure started to get to some distance, not completely go away, and slowly walk towards them, or him. Whenever he was inside the house, the figure would follow him around everywhere. He was downright terrified. Whenever he tried to explain it to his aunt or his mother, nobody would understand. Even to his other relatives who visited their house, nobody understood his condition. He was getting terrified and irritated and more annoyed by every passing day. And his family was getting worried about him. They even showed him to a priest or so, and he told them that something was inside his house and that was haunting him, and they had to leave the house if they want his condition to be back to normal. And for that, within a month, they started to search for a new house. And within that month, it was hell for him. The figure started to speak and said only one sentence over and over and over again. Leave the house. Leave the house. Get out of it. It's mine. Leave it. He was getting scared now, much more for his life and his family's, because the figure was getting much aggressive each time they encountered. It was starting to run around him, not just follow him silently. Mateen had to run around his house, much to confusion of his relatives, but they were getting afraid of him as well, afraid for his condition and mental health as well. And for that, they were searching much faster than anticipated. One day, just before they moved out, he woke up and felt pressure over his body and saw that he couldn't move it, and saw that the figure was sitting on top of him. As the figure grabbed his neck with both hands that were disfigured and started to squeeze on his neck. Get out. Get out. Get out. These were the only words he said. As he started to recite everything that came to his mind, as much as he started to pray to the God that the figure might just leave him, and it did. And the next thing they knew, they moved out of the house. As from then on, the life started to went back to normal for him, as he moved on with his life. But whenever he thinks about it, he still feels shiver run down his spine. From that, his goosebumps rise. As this is where I'm going to be leaving the story of, guys. I hope you like this one, and if you do, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, as this is Apollo Stories, and I'm signing out. Peace.